Hey guys, this is Rick coming at you with Weed to No Basis, the podcast for all things cannabis business related. Are you an entrepreneur? Have something you wanted to create, something you wanted to bring to life in the cannabis industry? Maybe you've always wanted to partake in one of the biggest industries in modern day history. This is the podcast to listen to. Hey guys, this is Rick, and we're back with episode 4 of Weed to No Basis. So if you've heard us so far, episodes 1 through 3, then you are on a Weed to No Basis. And you know what that means, guys. So we're talking about what's going on in the industry, how to get into the industry, how to build something sustainable, ethical, and responsible in the world's fastest growing industry, the green sandbox, the green rush, the cannabis world. So you know what's funny is you're here in my office, okay? You've seen the office before, and if you're listening to this, then just know that you are here in my office with me, and I'm pointing right now to my whiteboard, and I point to the whiteboard often because of the pictures of my family, because that's the reason why I do it. And I pull no punches. I'm an unabashedly shameless marketer, because the fact is, guys, you are your best advocate. You are your best advocate. You know, sure, other people might talk about you or for you, but the truth is you are your best advocate. And here's the thing, is sometimes people think, you know, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to be too aggressive to this. And, you know, you can even hear my voice, how it changes. I don't want them to really think bad about me. But guys, it's not bragging if it's true. It's not bragging if it's true. So I've been very vocal, more aggressive. I've been unafraid to say what I believe needs to be said, especially as this industry emerges from the dark side into the white side. It's an interesting thing that's happening. So one day, I have a friend, and he said, Rick, he goes, you're kind of like, I heard you speak at the Reno Cannabis Convention. I heard you do this. And he says, you're kind of like this morph between like a Tony Robbins and a Gary Vee. And I'm like, well, I kind of liked it. I mean, I was flattered. I kind of liked it. But on the other hand, I thought, I don't want to be a Tony Robbins or a Gary Vee. I don't want to be a combination of those two. I'm flattered, like totally, like I was blown away. I want to be the first version of me. You need to be the first version of you. But that being said, guys, it's hard to ignore the fact that there are a lot of people in the industry who are making big impact, like Gary Vee. Like this is the cover of Dope Magazine of Gary Vee. And I didn't unwrap this. I actually bought 2 of them. Because I wanted to keep one for posterity, because think about this, guys. People who are traditional, mainstream are now diving headfirst into the world that you know you want to be in. What's stopping you? But Gary Vee, the Gary Vee of weed. You know, I kind of like that way that sounds. It actually has a rhyme and rhythm to it, but as I really think about that, guys, what I want to be is the first Rick Martinez of weed. And I say that because I want you to be thinking the same way about you and your business. You want to be the first Jane Smalley of weed. You want to be the first Chris Mega of weed. You want to be the first Lisa Martinez, the queen of cannabis. That's the beauty of what's happening right now, guys, as the industry is so wide open, you can be the first. Let me give you a real example. So I have a friend, and he has a marketing company. Okay, marketing, like a company that sells pens and like chapsticks, things like that, t-shirts, you know, like marketing, the stuff you get at events and conferences, and it's big business. And one day he said, Rick, he goes, how do I, and he's here in Texas. So Texas. Cannabis in Texas. So he says, Rick, he goes, man, I've been following you. I've been reading about you. I this and that. He's a good friend of mine. And he says, how do I become the cannabis marketing company? The. And he said it like it was a capital T, capital H, capital E. And I said, you just did. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you just said you are. And because nobody else is doing it, you're the first. I said, you are now the marketing company of South Central Texas. And he goes, it can't be that easy. And I said, yes, it can. And so he said, well, how do I actually do that? And I'm like, dude, you know the stuff you're already making? Like the t-shirts and the this and the that? And he says, yeah, and the koozies and all those things. He said, yeah. And I said, just put a little green leaf on it, or sprinkle some magic dust on it. I said, and now you're in the industry. And he goes, okay, I get it, but what does that actually mean? And I said, okay, let me make it even simpler. I have a conference coming up. Will you print my t-shirts that say Talk, Hustle, Connect, THC 2018 on them. I said, then you can say you now have a cannabis client. He goes, yes. Guys, it's that simple. Don't overthink it. You can be the Gary Vee of weed in your industry. You can do the thing in your industry because nobody has likely done it yet. But back to the whole Tony Robbins, Gary Vee. So I got to be honest, guys. And if Tony Robbins or Gary Vee ever hear this, just know that I say this with all love and respect. So Gary Vee, I listen to all of your stuff. I've read your books. Tony Robbins, I have spent a lot of money at your trainings. I've gone to a lot of your things, to Leadership Mastery, you name it. So I'm saying that in total transparency, guys. But honestly, to be called a combo of Gary Vee and Tony Robbins for the cannabis industry was fucking amazing. Honestly. And I said that with a PH. Just for those of you who are conscious to bad words, it was fucking amazing. To be compared to people like that who have done some amazing things for humanity at such an early stage in the cannabis industry, here's my prediction. Where's the camera? You're gonna wanna get the photo, you're gonna wanna get the magazine with Rick on the cover and buy two so you can keep one in plastic for posterity. Remember the last episode where I said you gotta be certain about yourself and your industry? You gotta have those three things. Guys, if you aren't clear, if you aren't certain about what you can do, about the impact you want to make in the industry, in the green sandbox, then step aside. Step aside. Now, if that resonated with you, if you got a little torqued, if maybe you got a little chill, and maybe you thought, man, I'm not sure about this, then you really do need to step aside because there's no place for second place in the industry. Be the best you're going to be. Be the Gary Vee of the weed industry. Be the Tony Robbins of the weed industry. Be the first marketing company. Just be. Make the choice and do it. So my friend says, like the Gary Vee of weed. Like the Gary Vee of weed. And as much as I love that, the fact is, I want to be the first RICK MARTINEZ of weed. Weed to No Basis will be the podcast, the subject matter expert, the thing that folks, the place where you will go to first for all things cannabis business related. Do you have that kind of certainty when you think about the business you want to create or the business you're in? Think about that, guys. If you're already in business and your business is not doing what you believed it would do you have that kind of belief? That something inside, that fire that says, I am the best. Do you have that? Do you have that inner Gary Vee? Think about it, guys. You either love him or you hate him. You either like, this dude is spot on because he tells the truth, or you turn it off because he tells the truth. So maybe you're listening to this or you're watching this and you're thinking on some level, man, if I just had just a bucket of that confidence, just a little bit of that confidence. Man, but I'm not Rick, or I'm not Gary Vee, or I'm not this, or geez, it must be super cool that you can have a video done and share this with you. I'm saying, guys, look, there's no excuse. The fact is this. I'm gonna wind back way back when. I was born in East LA. I didn't share that with you guys in episode 1 in the bio because it wasn't really relevant, but it is now. So if you're not sure what East LA is, you probably live in a town where there's an east side or a south side, you have a sign, and that's where I was born. There's no reason why I should be here talking to you about an industry what I've only been in for less than 5 years, but I am. Remember when I talked about finding the thing that fuels you, the thing that fires you up? This is it. This is it. That's why I have the photos here, guys. That's why I do the things I do. And I'm saying the word I, but change that out and put me in there as you think about it, what you're hearing from me. This is it. That's a picture of my wife and I when we were first dating. And I have that up there because that's what fires me up. That's what gives me that inner Gary Vee, if you will. That's what it is. You find that fire, you find that fuel, you find the thing, and you never deviate. You tell the truth. You do it right the first time, and even if you make people mad, you still do it. In fact, if you make people mad, you're doing something right. Guys, I'm being totally serious. I'm not the Gary Vee of weed. I'm not the Gary V is the Gary V of weed, of cannabis. I'm not the Tony Robbins of personal development. Tony Robbins is, he's not even your guru according to the movie, but I'm the first Rick Martinez. So here's what I'm telling you. Here's what I'm compelling for you to do. When you figure out what you're going to do, how are you going to do it, where are you going to do it, and you know why you're going to do it, then do it. Be the first version of you. Guys, so that's what I have today. It was short and sweet. This is just something that was totally off the cuff when a friend of mine said you're the Gary V of weed. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to flip the script on you. Remember this. Be the best and the first version of you. Figure out why you're doing it. Don't ever let that go. And get out there and do something meaningful. And remember, guys, you're watching Weed to Know Basis, or you're listening to Weed to Know Basis. If you have other questions, if you're kind of curious about what's more, how can I be out there, get on your computer, get on your phone, whatever it is, and go to weedtoknowbasis.com, guys, because we're here delivering you the truth about cannabis. Signing off from San Antonio, Texas, the Rick Martinez of weed. Peace.